for us to make any decision about what happened in this tragic incident until we get all the facts. Not just the video perspective, but the other evidence.
That is North Carolina Police Chief Deputy Daniel Fogg pleading for patience there amid growing calls for authorities to release the body cam footage in the shooting death of Andrew Brown Jr. Brown's family has described the killing as a, quote, execution, and they're demanding justice. Joining us now to discuss is former police officer Brandon Tatum joining us live. We also have here criminal defense attorney David DiPietro. Good to see everyone here. A lot to talk about here. The Brown family attorney saying that the family, this is the update, was only showed 20 seconds of the body cam footage. Here's what their attorney said at the press conference following the viewing of the body cam footage.
Transparency need to move forward. Police officers are public officials, public officers. They get paid by taxpayers' dollars. Their acts should be able to be seen by the people who pay them. Right. So we're demanding that law to be changed, and to be changed is his name, the Andrew Act.
What he's Brandon, what he's referring there to is a law that they've got to go through a judge to get it a court order essentially to have this video approved, but to be seen, to be released. But nevertheless, the family was shown 20 seconds. But what piece of the story might this family have seen in 20 seconds? What do you make of this only being shown this amount? And also keep in mind, I believe they had to blur some of the officers' faces in the video, and that's also something that they say that hindered the release of the footage.
Well, there's multiple components here. You know, first and foremost, if the family care about the investigation and want justice, you may not want to be disclosing evidence that can be suppressed in the court of law if it's disclosed too early and it's leaked. However, I think that it was sufficient that the family was able to see at least some part of what happened to their child and what the police officers did to some degree. I have no faith in believing the family 100%. I have seen this a time and time again where people are saying officers are executing people, hands up, don't shoot, and it's a complete lie. So before I make a judgment on whether the family is legitimized or not, or whether this is justified or not based on my perception, I need to see the video myself. But it is reasonable that they do not disclose the video in full because it's a part of an investigation that could be tainted later on.
David, with your legal background, I ask you to weigh in on that as well, and also considering the laws there in the state of North Carolina, and also seeing the chief there calling for patience as the facts do come out, as the investigation takes time.
I think generally speaking, open government and transparent government is a good thing. So eventually these videos are going to come out, and I think that's ultimately a good thing for everybody, because public records and public disclosure of government activity leads to better government, generally speaking. It looks like North Carolina's process is a little more onerous in that they have to go through the court system in order to obtain these videos and other records and evidence. Unlike my state, Florida, where it's easier, where the agency makes the decision on what's public record and not, and the courts only get involved when records are not turned over, not if records are turned over. Yeah. So it's an interesting process. I think, though, ultimately it'll come out. The sooner the better, because the more it lags, the more suspicion develops, I believe. But ultimately, there is an investigation, and that needs to not be tainted as well. So there's a tricky balancing act.
Brandon, let me get your thoughts on this before I dismiss you guys. A member of the LAPD invited NBA star LeBron James to have a discussion about policing. This following a much criticized tweet from the Lakers star related to the fatal police shooting of a teenage girl. Dion Joseph is the name of that officer, 24-year veteran of the LAPD, posted a letter to his Facebook page on Sunday, and it's worth a read. But we pulled a terrier. It says, quote, "Your current stance on policing is so off base and extreme. Your tweet that targeted a police officer in Ohio who saved a young woman's life was irresponsible and disturbing," end quote. Brandon, did you see this invitation again from that police veteran there, LAPD, calling for LeBron James to have a sit down? And he even goes on to say, no cameras, just me and you at a table to talk about this, because the officer that you're putting out there vilifying saved a woman's life. Brandon.
Yeah, this is probably one of the greatest invitations that LeBron James can get. You're talking about a veteran police officer in LAPD that probably saved more lives than that are on the on LeBron James basketball team. So I think LeBron James is not going to take this opportunity, because this is too much for his brand. If he actually sit down with a police officer and he do a ride along or he get educated, he's going to have to change his entire stance. And I think that these individuals like LeBron, and I hope that I'm wrong, they don't want to change. They love the attention from being a social justice warrior. But this police officer, I have to give him credit. He was respectful. He was a lot more kind than I would have been. He didn't name call. He reached out to him brother to brother and said, hey, just come so we can have a conversation so I can inform you and you can be better for it. So it'll be interesting to see if LeBron James picks it up. However, I think that this is not in his wheelhouse. Just like Colin Kaepernick, they want no parts of actual change and actual transparency from an actual police officer.
All right, we'll leave it right there. Brandon, David, good to see both of you. Thanks so much for being our guests today. I appreciate that.